Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna. Good morning, friends. Today we'll be doing a session on what the effect will be when Saturn transits over the natal Mars. And Saturn is going to transit to Pisces on 20th of March 2025. It is going to stay there for 2.5 years. So if Mars happens to be in your natal chart in Pisces as well, then what the effect is going to be? Because then Saturn and Mars going to be occupying the same house, which is Pisces. So Mars in Pisces is in general not considered good, because it means the humiliated one, the humiliated one, because Mars afflicts Jupiter in the house of Jupiter. First of all, it is the natural 12th house, and Agni Tattvas are not welcome in 4, 8, and 12 houses. Agni and water, at the element level, there is a conflict. So that raises kind of a disease is invoked, because of the Agni is related to Pitta or acidity, and water is related to Kapha, that obesity or even the cough, runny nose. So these two conflicting elements, they create a case for disease. And when Saturn is over there, it introduces vata component also. So basically these three doshas which are there in Ayurveda, uh, all the three will get disturbed during this time. Second thing is that Jupiter is the Karaka for the respect in the society, and Mars afflicting it basically reduces the person's respect in the society, makes him the humiliated one. So, in general, Mars is not good in this house, and when Saturn is over there, it will add insult to injury. So, let's see how the result is going to be for all the Lagnas, for all the ascendants, because the results is going to be different for each one of them depending on their functional karakattvas, depending on their natural karakattvas. So let's begin with Aries. Okay, so for Aries people, it is the Lagna Lord Mars which is there in the 12th house. Also, it is the 8th Lord which is there in the 12th house, and Saturn is the Lord of 10th and 11th house in the 12th house. So Saturn's impact will be governed by this. First of all, since Saturn is going to transit over Mars, which is the 8th house lord and the Lagna lord, the person will be given to lot of anger, and he'll be angry for even small things. This will create trouble for him. He'll basically become very irritated, very irascible, and because of such fit of anger, he may have to face the humiliation. Because of, so basically he has to keep the mind calm, and maybe if he can stop eating some food that increases the agni inside the body, then it will be good for him. It will basically calm him down, and he'll basically be like, since 12th house is also for meditation and introspection, and so he could be interested into doing deep meditation, deep intense meditation, to understand the cause of his anger, to understand these doshas in his inner nature. So Saturn's effect in that 12th house, since Saturn is also the karaka of 12th house, so he will try to promote this tendency also, that a person becomes very introspective, and he, instead of getting angry, he may try to overcome it by acknowledging it, by reviewing it, that in what situations he gets into this kind of anger, and how can he behave in a different way. There could be certain loss of a job, or lack of health, because Saturn is the 10th house lord, and Mars is the 8th house lord. So that change in the job could happen, because 10th rules over the work. So if not the job change, then the nature of job might change, or the project might change, but there would be some change in the person's job profile. It could cause distance with the in-laws, because the person's in-laws are denoted by 8th house. Okay, there could be access of disease due to all the three doshas. As I said, Mars is the Agni, which is the Pitta element. The Pisces itself is the Kapha element, lot of water, and Saturn brings in the Vata. So all the three doshas, they are perturbed. So any disease, like all the three are basically perturbed. So there could be problems related to all the three. Next, let's go to the Taurus. So for Taurus people, it is a good transit. Mars is also well placed because Mars is Lord of 11th house, Lord of 12th house in the 11th, Lord of 7th house in the 11th, and Saturn is the Yoga Karak of 9th and 10th house Lordship. So this transit is going to be very good for both the Karakatwas of Saturn and Mars. So the person may get some kind of ancestral land or ancestral property because of this. There could be long distance travel for work or for pilgrimage. There could be gain of ancestral property. There could be promotion in office. And Vata disease is possible for the spouse because seventh house Lord is Mars, and Saturn's as transit over it will basically promote the Vata disease or general debility or pain in the body, in the body of spouse. There could be the person could be interested in doing business related to Saturnine things like scraps business or oil related business, or it could be um, business related to frozen stale foods, or even you see the namkeen bhujia and those kind of things that we prepare once and use it like for 6 7 months, even achar pickles also. There could be excess of desire, and that excess of desire could make him miserable because Mars stands for desire and it's there in the seventh house. So the person will be interested in doing anything for achieving his desires, fulfilling his desires. So Saturn's aspect over there will basically make him miserable if he just go on like fulfilling all his desires. There could be trouble to spouse due to father. Okay, so father could be causing trouble in the life of the spouse. That's a possibility because for such people, ninth house lord is Saturn, and Saturn's transit over seventh house. Seventh house is the wife, so that trouble could be caused by the spouse, by the father. For Gemini people, so for Gemini people, Mars is the lord of sixth and 11th house. Sixth house is for enemies, 11th house is for friends. It is there in the 10th house where Mars attains the Digbala. So it is good for Mars. It is good for like the person will have lot of friends and lot of enemies. But when Saturn is transiting over there, suddenly the person will become sort of distanced from both of them. Like he'll be distanced from enemies as well as friends, and it may also turn out to be that whosoever he considers as friend, they become enemies, and the enemies become friends. That is also a possibility. And there could be change in job due to animosity, like at the workplace some trouble or fight may happen and the person has to change the job, or person has to change the project also. There could be too much work and very slow promotion because of the Saturn's transit on the 10th house. It will basically slow down the promotion, but he will basically make him work like anything during this time. For Cancer people, so for Cancer people, Mars is the Yoga Karak. It's the Lord of 5th and the 10th house, and it's there in the 9th house. And Saturn, which is the Lord of 8th house, transiting over it. So it could mean there would be some change in the job because the 8th Lord transit. Person's promotion uh, will be delayed, or like there could be a lot of obstruction to it. Okay, he will not get the recognition that he desires, but he will have to work hard because of Saturn. He'll have to work hard, but there will be no recognition, no promotion, nothing during this time. The person's father could get problem because of the wife, because Saturn is the wife here, and father is the 10th house. Okay, there could be some health disease to the children because of the fifth house. Fifth house, Mars involved. Mars is ruling over the fifth house, and Saturn transiting over it will cause basically a problem to the children. There could be mental anxiety also because of the eighth and fifth lord connection. The person will be continuously anxious for something, like one or the other thing. But the person will be laser focused on improving his work environment. or not only work environment, like to improve his children's performance, children's intelligence. He'll be laser focused on that. He'll be very focused on that. uh, Spouse could create problem for the father. Okay, already covered. There could be difficulties in getting pregnant. So if the person is trying to get pregnant, then because of the Saturn's transit on it, will basically make it delayed. For Leo people, it is the sixth lord in the eighth house. It is the seventh lord in the eighth house, and Mars is ruling over. Mars is the yoga karak. Basically, it's a lord of fourth and ninth house in the eighth house. So there is already issue with the parents, because the lord of fourth, the mother, lord of father, ninth, they both are in there in the eighth house, which is not good. Not good placement for Mars. There's already a problem related to mother and father, and if Saturn's transits over it, then it creates a problem for both of them. There could be health issues because of them. There could be you may get distance from them, like you may have to go somewhere else apart from them, and that would create a problem. Or your spouse could create problem for them, because Saturn is the spouse for Leo. uh, since it also lords over the sixth house um, for disease or for debt, so the person may get clear up all his debts very fast, because it's there in the eighth house. So that's one good aspect for these people. There could be delay in getting the house. um, in fact, delay in getting the fortune unlocked. So for quite some time he'll feel like he's very misfortune. Like there will be bouts of misfortune for Leo people in this time, if they have Mars also over there. There could be accident, or because eighth house Mars represents accidents, and that accident, since Saturn transit is also over there, so after accident there could be misery for some time. So there could be delay in recovery also because of Saturn. But if loan is there, it may get repaid very quickly. He'll also be interested in doing meticulous planning for changing his fortune, for even for acquiring the house also. He will be very focused on doing this, but it's not a good placement for both of them. Then coming to Virgo. So for Virgo, it is the third house lord and eighth house lord there in the seventh house. So, and Saturn transiting over it would mean that there could be trouble from the siblings, there could be trouble from the in-laws side. If not trouble, then the person may get distanced from his siblings. Okay, he will get away from the in-laws due to some misunderstanding and deep introspection to remove one's anger issues. So again, here also the fifth and eighth house connection is there. So the person will be very mentally anxious, and um, if the person is very, you can say, spiritual kind of person, then since the eighth house involvement is there, the person may get into meditation kind of practice and try to introspect why the anger issues are coming during this time, and he may come over it. There could be mental disturbance due to in-laws and siblings, and there could be long-term diseases related, because eighth house Mars gives the long-term diseases, and it's there in the seventh house. So 7-8 connection is also a Maraka connection, and Saturn's aspect over there will basically mean that uh, the disease is basically very prolonged. So Mars gives the Pitta kind of disease, acidity, ulcers, these kind of thing, piles. Coming to Libra, so for Libra, it is a good transit because Mars is there in the sixth house. Mars loves to be there in the sixth house, it vanquishes the enemies. Saturn is there in the sixth house. Saturn is the lord of fourth and fifth house. Saturn is the Yoga Karak. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 connections. So basically, in the sixth house, enemies will be destroyed. Okay, so whosoever is opposing you will get destroyed by Saturn and Mars. That's for sure. On the flip side, what can happen? Mars is the seventh house lord, and Saturn's transit is over it. So there could be some debility or some problem to the wife. Okay, and the person's tongue could also become very harsh, because second house is for tongue, also for speech. Also, there could be breakup in the ongoing, if somebody is like doing dating or such sort of thing. Then those short-term relationships, it may get over during this time. uh, the person may try to get loan to basically fulfill his desires. So seventh house is for desires, and to basically fulfill that, the person will basically take a loan, and he'll also make use of certain innovative techniques to basically do the business. And enemies will be destroyed during this time, and it's a good transit for Libra people. For Scorpio people, this is going to happen in the fifth house. Fifth house is heavily afflicted, so there would be problem to the children. There could be problem to the children's growth, but the person will be very meticulous in improving their situation. He'll be very laser focused during this time. He'll work very hard during this time to improve them. And there could be suffering to the self also, because Mars is the Lagna lord also. So the person could be suffering on account of Pitta disease as well as Vata disease, and general debilitation in the body, because Mars is the Lagna lord, and Saturn over there basically mean like you'll feel like very old. There'll be pain here and there in the body always. There will be lack of strength, lack of, because of pain in the body. That's the one characteristic of Vata. So if you just massage with the oil, then the Vata will reduce during this time. There will be interest in meditation and introspection because of Saturn's aspect, in the Saturn's position in the fifth house. It could basically, if you do the meditation and introspection, slow down your thoughts, observe them, then it will become easier to control your fits of anger. There could be slow growth in the kids, because Saturn basically slows down whatever wherever he's placed. So it is over the on the fifth house. So basically, um, it basically slows the growth in the kids. They will focus on workout and strength gain. So person will be very focused on increasing the strength, because he is feeling very debilitated. And since Mars is also ruling over the sixth house of workout, of doing the hard work, so he'll go there in the gym to basically increase the strength, to basically overturn whatever Saturn is doing to him. There could be maintenance work required for the house, because Saturn is the fourth lord for the house, and like he'll have to do something. There could be some trouble in the house. Basically, the fourth and sixth house connection shows, and maybe he'll have to take loan or something to do that repair work. Sagittarius people. So Sagittarius people, it is the second and third lord Saturn, which is there in the fourth house, and Mars is the lord of fifth and 12th house, there in the fourth house. So fourth house is heavily afflicted, meaning that the person will in general lack any sort of comfort during this time, and there could be health issues to the children, because Mars is the fifth lord. Okay, there could be expenses on account of siblings, because Mars is the karaka for siblings, and it lords over the 12th house. So there could be expenses because of siblings, and it could also be because of your own family. See, Saturn third lord is also there, so there is heavy chance of doing some expenditures on account of siblings. The tongue could get burned. So Saturn is there for second and third house lord, so the person's tongue may get burned by the Mars, because Mars and Saturn connection is there in the fourth house. And there could be investment in the real estate, because 12th house is also for investments, and Mars is for real estate. And Saturn's aspect over there will basically mean that the person will not purchase old new house. He'll go for some second hand old house. uh, the person will speak very harshly, because the Saturn is already there, which is a Krura planet, and now it is there with Mars, which is again very scathing and burning kind of speech he will make. For Capricorn people, it's a good transit because Saturn is the Lagna Lord, second house Lord in the third house, and Mars is the 11th house Lord and fourth house Lord in the third house. So basically, all the Karakattvas of Mars, all the Karakattvas of Saturn will be fulfilled. Only bad thing is that the person's mother may get affected because Mars rules over the fourth house, and that's for mother. And Saturn, when it is aspecting, when it is with the Mars, it will basically give debility and Vata kind of disease to the mother. There could be gain from the real estate. There could be fulfillment of desires related to house. So whatever house you buy, they basically go and enjoy it a lot because Mars ruling over the 11th house gives the fulfillment of desires related to fourth house things. There will be rise in the discrimination power. The person will understand what is right, what is wrong, what is good for him, what is not good for him. That discrimination power will be very, very peak, and he'll be full of energy during this time because Mars is giving the energy. It's there in the third house, and Saturn is also there in the third house. So person will be very hardworking, and he'll be full of energy in whatever task he's doing. He may be into like initiating a lot of businesses during this time because of that lot of energy. For Aquarius people, it is the third house lord and the 10th house lord in the second house. Okay, there is a Maraka connection, yes, third and second house. So the person could it could be problem to the self. Okay, there could be pitta kind of disease and vata kind of disease to the person himself, and there could be slow growth in the office because of 10th house involvement. There could be expense on account of siblings because Saturn not only rules over the Lagna, it rules over the 12th lord or 12th house also, and it is transiting over third house. So basically, any expenses related to siblings is possible. There could be loss of wealth due to theft or even fraud because Mars denotes the fraud, and now this combination is happening in the second house of wealth. So because of fraud, the person may get like lose wealth, and the person will be very focused on the job because Mars is ruling over the 10th house of the workplace, and Saturn over there will basically make the person's discrimination power will be high. He'll be um, he'll be very focused on his job during this time. And since the combination is happening in the second house, the person will be very harsh in the speech, very scathing in the speech. uh, it will basically hurt the other person. For Pisces people, this Saturn Mars, they are happening, they are right over his head, so it is not a good combination. The person, not good combination from the health perspective, and the emotional turmoil that's going to happen to him. That's also terrible because it is the Marad Karak Sthan for Saturn. Saturn rules over the 12th and the 11th house, and Mars is the ruler of second and the ninth house. So, first of all, being the ninth house lord, it can basically mean problem to the uh, to the to the father also, and since it is happening the lagna, so the problem could be to the self also, and not just vata or pitta. Basically, all the three kind of diseases can happen to the person. There could be some expenditure on account of going to temples and following certain traditions on some ceremonies because ninth house and 12th house connection is there. And that will also result into fulfillment of like he will achieve some sense of fulfillment out of that expenditure. He could also be spending a lot on the family. He will basically be controlling his appetite during this time by following certain vratas or fasting regimen or intermittent fasting and all those things, but his appetite will be controlled during this time because of Saturn's transit over it. And there could be interest in the religious things, and he'll be very dutiful during this time. Okay, that's all about it. Om Namo Narayana.